And we are officially live. Hello to all my BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition of NXT Los, the sexiest NXT review show here on the internet, and the sexiest review show of all the BC WrestlePod reviews we do. I am one of your hosts, Mikey, and joining me this lovely evening is my compadre, my brother in arms, mi novio of wrestling review podcasts all over the place, Papa Oso himself.
Hi, everybody.
Oh my goodness, I'm so happy that you are here. So yeah, we're here to review another episode of NXT, which I have to say, very, very fun setups for next week for Homecoming, for sure, which we're going to get into. So this is going to be an interesting show. We're going to talk about everything that went down this past Tuesday, so yesterday's episode. But before we get into all of that, a quick service announcement. If you like what you see here and you want to, continue to watch us review all the wrestling, then we highly recommend you subscribing to our YouTube or following us on Twitch or Kick, whatever your preferred platform is for video consumption these days. But we also understand that watching full-length reviews may not be within your wheelhouse. But if you still want to be a part of our BC WrestlePod community and interact with us, then I highly recommend you following us on any social media site that you feel comfortable with at BC WrestlePod, where we post our report cards for the weekly shows. For the pay-per-views, we preview what's going on during the week for the shows. It's a lot of fun as well. We're also posting some new merch picks, which leads me into my next thing, where if you won't feel the want to get some cool merch while also supporting us and supporting some charities as well, we highly recommend you get something from our merch store, which is at bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com, where we have review merch for all of our pay-per-view teams and weekly show teams. We also have our Pride and Anti-Fascism collection, and just dropping earlier this week is our new fall line, where part of the proceeds of that will be donated to No Kid Hungry, which is a charity organization that helps children be fed not only during the holiday seasons, but especially at school as well, especially the beginning of the year. We know times are tough right now for kids all over the place, and no child needs to go hungry. So that is where our charity is going for our fall collection, which runs all the way to November 30th. So feel free to buy some merch or even go to the website at nokidhungry.org and donate that way as well. But without further ado, let's just jump into it, because I really enjoyed the pacing of this NXT. I was like, you know what? We're setting up for Homecoming. We got some returns, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, of some various people from different generations of NXT, while also progressing things that are happening in the NXT universe and what we will be getting at No Mercy in about 2 weeks. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But without further ado, let's just jump straight into everything. So we kick things off with Javon Evans versus Josh Briggs. I really love the beginning of this. Javon comes out with his mic. He's like, no. We ain't gonna get no introduction. No, like entrance music. It's like, Josh, get out here. And then Javon went flying. I was like, that was a fun way to start off the match. And my God, I actually really enjoyed this match too. I was like, Javon is doing what we know and love for him too. And Josh Briggs, I was like, sir, we need to stop throwing people. Surprisingly though, Josh was the safest with Javon that we've seen in the last couple of weeks, which is crazy to say. But I had a good time with this one. Josh Briggs does beat Javon Evans with a chain-assisted punch. Papa, also, what did you think of this match and how it opened the show?
I liked it. I thought it was good. It was. I have to say, I think the overall episode was pretty decent. There really wasn't much that I didn't like, I guess you might say. I thought this match, I thought it was a good opener. I'm confused about it. Maybe I missed something. I don't know. Or maybe I didn't, and this is just the way it is. But I didn't really understand why they have beef. Did I miss something? Maybe I missed something.
So, that's right, because it was Kilt who was here with me last week. Okay, so I'll fill you in. So last week, Javon came out to cut a promo, because it was the first time we heard from him since losing to Oba at Heatwave. And so
Right.
he was so Javon's promo was talking about, he's just like, you know what? I keep getting close and I keep losing. And I don't know if I have it in me anymore, to continue to. Basically, Javon was at a crossroads. Like he gets so close, but can never get the job done. And you know what? It was a fun promo. But then Josh comes out, trolling everybody because he comes out to the Undertaker's music and it's not the Undertaker. So the crowd booed this man to oblivion. You barely could hear what Josh was saying during his promo. But he was telling Javon to stop whining and he needs to, go for it and take his opportunities. Don't wait for another one. And so then Josh smashed this boy on a chair. I was like, damn. Wow. So that was not the only body that Josh threw through objects that whole entire episode last week. Poor Chase U got thrown through tables and chairs and everything. Josh destroyed everybody last week. And so now, again, I was just like, this match was fun, but I was like, I'm tired of Javon getting beat up with, furniture all the time. So this is why we're getting this match from yesterday's episode.
Okay, I just didn't know. The funny thing is, I watched the last episode and I don't remember that promo. I guess I just wasn't paying attention. But okay, I mean, other than that, I thought it was a good match. I enjoyed it. I think it is funny how Josh just gets annihilated by the fans. Just annihilated.
I was like, they do not let this man breathe through promos or in the ring. I was just like, it's crazy because this is the heat that, we were taught. Like, I know it's been a while since we've seen him because he's over on WWE Evolve, but like, I remember us talking about like when they were trying to make Ridge Holland a heel, and I was like, that's the heat that he needs. And the fact that Josh I'm like, Josh is getting it, but it's weird for me to see Josh get so much heat as a heel. I was like, damn, I'm like, and then I have to look at the NXT roster. I'm like, you know what, though? We really don't have too many heels in the men's division. Like, I mean, Oba is like a tweener. Javon is a baby face. Like, the guys in the top of the card we don't really have any heels. And Josh Briggs, we need a heel. So Josh Briggs is him for right now. So,
yeah, I think it works. It's really funny though.
It really is. And again, I'm really hoping this leads to something at No Mercy, especially because, anytime you have Javon on a pay-per-view, it's always going to be amazing. But yeah, this feud is not over by any shot. And you know what? Color me intrigued. I'm really hoping that Creative and Shawn Michaels does right by these two and we can have a fun little program. So I'm here for it. So this is the first time we get told that, Homecoming, and we're going to have different generations of NXT return because Ricky Saints and Oba Femi are still at each other's throats, technically. And so next week, both of them are going to have a sit-down interview in the middle of the ring because both of them are going to be on an episode of the greatest talk show of NXT, well, according to him anyways, on the Grayson Waller effect. So I'm like, oh, Lord, here we go, talk show segment next week. And we know that these talk show segments never end peacefully. Like contract signings, they are about to end horribly. And I'm here for it. So, these two are fighting at No Mercy. So we got to figure out to continue and, take us there anyway. So I'm just like, all right, talk show next week. We'll see what happens. Okay, so let's get through the order thing. So DIY are out here. So Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano to kind of, to Trick, thinking that it's evening the odds. My favorite thing of this whole entire thing is Carmelo Hayes basically like, listen, we're a team of convenience. Like, you need a partner, I'm here for you, but don't get it twisted. You're kind of being a little bitch, Trick. I was like, I don't know who you think you are, but this is not the house. And then the fact that Carmelo Hayes compared Trick Williams' title run and how he's treating NXT like a squatter, and then the crowd is saying squatter, right? I was like, damn, I'm sitting here to myself. I'm like, is Carmelo Hayes is making sense. That's crazy, especially when we last saw Carmelo in NXT. But, Carmelo's going to team with Trick to remind everybody how great NXT is, even if it's through convenience. So we get a tag team match set for Homecoming next week. It is going to be DIY versus Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. I'm like, okay. I see you shaking your head, so I'm interested to hear your thoughts, and I'm probably going to agree with you. So, Papa Oso, what do we think of the whole segment here? And, Carmelo being back even for a one-off.
That's fine. It's fine. Segment was fine, and not even a very good one. So I was like, okay, so forced to be together. He's going to turn on him because they got beef, and I think it's just gonna be a shit show. Not saying I'm not gonna enjoy watching it. It's just right. It's going to be a shit show.
We know it's not going to end well between Trick and Carmelo. Things are going to happen. They might win, and then Carmelo and Trick are not walking away friends after next week. No. Like, regardless if they win or lose, because Trick's ego, I think, is going to be the downfall, and I'm here for that. So,
well, the funny thing about it, it's Trick Williams is basically a mirror image of Carmelo Hayes, because Carmelo was that before he left NXT. I mean, he was arrogant like that. He was so into himself. Like, he was the most important person in the world and nobody could touch him. I'm just like, wow, look at that. You're like two of a kind.
And it's crazy that Carmelo has had some time to reflect, and he called Trick out during this whole thing too. For that, I was like, you know what, Carmelo? I'm kind of here for this. So again, we get DIY versus Trick and Mello next week at Homecoming. So this should be a lot of fun. I think the match is going to be fun, but it's going to end poorly for Carmelo and for Trick. We're calling it now. So next up, we get to see speed match. So this is for the Contenders tournament that we are having, where the winner of this tournament will go on to have a WWE Speed Championship match at No Mercy against the current Women's Speed Champion, Sol Ruca. So last week, of course, we had main roster star Candice LeRae take on TNA's Xia Brookside in a quick match in which Candice won. And for those of you who do not know how a speed match works, for the best way to describe it, especially if you follow us for CMLL, it's like a Relampago match, but instead of a 10-minute time limit, it's a 3-minute time limit. So literally speed matches are like a very condensed lightning match / Relampago match. So of course we have our NXT representative in Miss Lainey Reed taking on from Mexico and representing in Fabi Apache, who I love. She's so good. She's been in this business forever and 100% native, Mexican and all that good stuff. So it is not cultural appropriation. Anyways, so again, I wasn't expecting this match because it is a speed match with a 3-minute time limit. They crammed as much as they can in the 3 minutes that they could. Of course, towards the tail end of things, Natalya from main roster kind of gets into it a little bit with Fabi, which is enough of a distraction for Lainey to capitalize and hit her finisher for the win. So moving on to face Candice LeRae in the finals is going to be NXT's Lainey Reed. And then I know Fabi Apache and Natalya are going to have a match at AAA show this Friday. So this was your first introduction to a speed match. What did you think of Fabi Apache versus Lainey Reed?
It's women's wrestling. So anytime we get women's wrestling, it's a good time. I don't know either of these ladies. Rather, I like them. I didn't understand the necessity of this match. Again, maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. It's the funny thing about the episode is like all the matches were really good, but I didn't understand a lot of them.
Right. So, okay. So this is how poorly the Fed has ideas and then doesn't capitalize, and then when they don't see instant returns of gratification. So the Speed Championships were designed specifically to air on the X and the Twitter as like social media video matches to watch, right? But for some reason they stopped doing that. And so then it was announced a couple of weeks ago that NXT was going to procure the men's and women's speed championships, and NXT would treat them as actual championships in NXT. So Sol Ruca, who is the current women's speed champion, is like, you know what? I'm looking for some challengers. And so Ava announced that there would be a tournament to see who would go to face Sol Ruca for the speed championship at No Mercy, so she can defend the title. So last week, of course, we had Candice LeRae beat Xia Brookside, and now this week, Lainey Reed defeating Fabi Apache. And so it is going to be Lainey versus Candice in the finals, and the winner goes on to No Mercy to face Sol Ruca for the Speed Championship, which, of course, is going to be a short 3-minute match as well. I'm not saying it's the best idea, but this is an idea they started, but then they took it off social media, and now NXT has procured both the men's and the women's speed championships, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, so that is the quick history lesson and the catch-up of why these things are happening. But yeah, again, Lainey Reed beats Fabi Apache. She's moving on to face Candice LeRae, so we shall see who ends up going to No Mercy to face off against Sol Ruca. Speaking of Sol Ruca, we get this fun backstage segment with Zaruka and Hank and Tank. This is the quartet I never knew I wanted until I saw it last night. I'm like, yes, give me all. I am down with the thickness because 3 out of the 4 of these folks are thick. And Sol Ruca is amazing. I love this little backstage segment. Their energies are so good. And I'm really, really here for this. So both of them are looking. It does not go well for either of these two teams in here. And we're going to talk about both of these teams a little bit later in their respective matches. Because right now, listen, I love my men's and women's, and I was just like, I am here for Dark Mariah May. I was just like, Halloween Havoc is in October. Actually, okay, this is cheesy, and I'm probably gonna get some crap for it. This was cheesy as all hell, but I really love this more sinister version of Blake Monroe. She's like, Jordan Grace, you ruined my moment, and now she's literally becoming. We are just like a paint can away from her becoming the NXT version of Carrie and just like out to destroy everyone. So this vignette tells us that Blake Monroe is going to go to the darker side, and Jordan Grace better beware, because like the devil is coming for her in some capacity. I'm like, this was corny, but I loved it. I'm going to be so for real. You can tell who has had classes and knows how promos and vignettes work. Blake Monroe is one of them. Papa, also, what did you think of this red lighted vignette from Blake?
I thought it was cool. I liked it a lot. And I agree with you. This will be really interesting.
I'm just like, this feud is going to be so much fun. Again, why is there no championship involved? But I digress.
I agree.
It's so weird. I'm like, this feels like a championship feud, but neither one of them have a championship. But you know, I'm interested to see where this goes. If we go to Halloween Havoc, I am here for both of them and this feud continuing. So this is gonna be fun for sure. So we got to move on though, because let's just get through this one. So NXT Tag Team Championships. Hank and Tank tried to reclaim their tag team championships that they lost at Heatwave against Dark State. It does not go well for Hank and Tank, because this time, for the second week in a row, they try to call for backup in the form of this man right here. God, I love this picture so much.
I know.
Such a good picture. But for the second week in a row, Hank and Tank call for the assistance of Joe Hendry, but unfortunately, it was not enough, as Dark State capitalized on the chaos of Joe Hendry coming in. And unfortunately, Dark State does retain the tag team championships, and Joe Hendry looks a little bothered that the help kind of backfired for Hank and Tank. So I'm like, ooh. So, hey, you know what? I'm happy to see Joe Hendry, because Lord knows TNA has him in this feud with Eric Young. We don't like where that direction is going. So, but yeah, this picture summarized how I felt about this match. It was just like, this is probably the best part, and that was the saddest thing to say.
Yeah. Well, you know, the funny thing about it is, or not necessarily funny thing about it, the sad thing about it is that we've already seen this match. You know, there was nothing new to it. You know, I mean, I know we see these people come together more than once, but this literally felt like we just watched a rerun, you know, except they added Joe Hendry to it. I mean, which is, you know, great, but it's just like,
why?
Yeah. And I was just, you know, I love Hank and Tank. Don't get me wrong. I love those guys, but I just was like, what purpose did this serve? Honestly,
I mean, again, you're right, because we saw this in a repeat, just a different coat of paint, because Joe Hendry came in to help out during the 8-man, and so Joe Hendry came out again for the tag team, but it backfired this time. So I'm like, but so Dark State are still our tag team champions. We're gonna have to figure it out from there. So yeah,
I mean, sadly, there wasn't much to talk about on this one. I mean, it really wasn't. I mean, the sad part about it, and this was a champion fight. This was for a championship. And I felt like if this match wasn't here, I wouldn't have missed it, honestly.
You're right.
And that sucks. Right. I mean, that sucks, because it was a championship fight.
I was like, we talked about this during our Heatwave review, Papa, and I'm just sitting here. I'm like, the U.S. versus insert country here shtick in wrestling never works out very well. And the country is, I was just like, the rest of the world looks at us as the joke, as they should, I'm being completely honest. But again, I was just like, this proto-nationalism angle that we got Tavion in does not make me happy. And I am very sad for Tavion. And I'm like, also having All Ego be the foreigner heel in this is so crazy to me again in 2025. I was like, I know he does heel very well, but I was just like, why are we making the foreign nation a heel? Like, I don't understand. I'm like, did we not learn our lesson from Sergeant Slaughter back in the day? Like, it never works. No. But again, the way that a flag match works is that you have to get the flag and, you know, wave it around in order for you to win. And that is exactly how Tavion won. I will say, though, there was a scary moment at the end of the match, suplex. It looked like Ethan Page landed on his neck and his head. I was like, he was like clutching it, and he did not look good.
No, he did
I was
not.
like, oh my God, please don't tell me he got hurt. Because listen, I might not like his current character arc, but I do not want Ethan to get hurt. Like, a
I
champion getting
agree.
hurt means that they have to vacate that thing at some point, and we don't want that. But before
Yeah.
we talk about the craziness that was the post-match angle, Papa, also, what did you think of this flag match?
I texted you when I literally was like, flag match equals stupid. I don't think it served anybody positively. It was just, and I agree with you, this whole nationalism thing they got going on. I'm not a big fan of it. This whole like Ethan Page turning, this whole going this whole Canadian thing. I'm like, it feels a little too political for me, and I'm just not here. I'm not here for it. I just wrestle. I'm not saying you can't have your political views, because you absolutely can, but don't because it's come on. I mean, unless they're all going to be that way. Now, if every single match or whatever is going to be politically based, then rock on. But don't throw something in there that's a little politically charged, I think. And it's just sort of, I don't know, this whole thing, I don't know what it is, but it's rubbing me the wrong way.
It's really weird, and it's frustrating. So, I mean, Tavion does win. So technically, him and Ethan are 1-1, because Ethan won with Chelsea Green at a Heat Wave. Tavion won the flag match here. So I was just like, one more? Is it for championship? Probably at No Mercy or something. But I'm just going to let this picture speak for itself, because what happened after the match, listen, I'm a sucker for stupid wrestling, right? Tyler Breeze, man, is back of NXT Black and Gold. His whole shtick as a character is him and JDC, Johnny Dango Curtis. They were like the pretty boys who carried around like a selfie stick and took pictures in the middle of their matches. It was stupid, but it was like my kind of stupid. So, but we are getting this match made for Homecoming next week. Tyler Breeze will be challenging Ethan Page for the North American Championship. I'm like, random, but okay. I don't care what nobody says. This is a stupid gimmick, but I am here for my stupid gimmicks. Man, it's really fun to see Tyler Breeze back. It was like, listen, I've been rocking with NXT since the Black and Gold, the 1.0 days. So I have been through the trenches with a bunch of these folks that are on the main roster and in the backstage helping out too. Like, so Tyler Breeze and Ethan Page is set for Homecoming next week. So I'm like, okay, this should be a lot of fun. Not gonna lie. Week with the pre-tape video promos that we've gotten of showcasing Lola's life and everything. I'm like, I swear to God, NXT, if you don't put the championship on Lola Vice, I think I might actually riot. Like, because at first I was like, okay, JC's going to hold it for a little bit. But now I'm like, I swear to God, y'all better Lola better win at No Mercy. It's like, I'm like, damn it, man. Her family is cute. Her dad is like cute. Like, getting to see what drives her and everything. I'm like, please, NXT, do the right thing and strap this woman up with the NXT Women's Championship. Damn it. But oh my God, I think this was probably my favorite segment, because I was just like, it made me tear up a little bit. I'm like, oh my God, we're getting so personal with Lola.
Yeah, this was nice. I mean, this was just nice.
In the words of Simon Miller, it made me feel good in my tum-tum. But yeah, I'm just like, I swear to God, NXT, if you do not have Lola win at No Mercy, I might have to take a break from you and in our relationship. Just kidding. But I'm really hoping I love Lola. I've always have. But now I'm rooting so hard for her to win the NXT Women's Championship at No Mercy. So I really hope that she ends up winning. And who knows? I mean, the possibility of her winning might be a lot higher than we think, especially everything that happened during the main event and after the main event before our big surprise. So Lola, we're here for you, girl. I'm really hoping you win at No Mercy in 2 weeks. But this was a really beautifully done vignette and pre-tape, and I was here for all of it. So the delusion sets in early for the girls backstage of Fatal Influence, because they think they're going to win this, number one contenders triple threat and go on to face Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. So I was like, the delusion is real, but hot damn well, this was easily, hands down, the best match of the entire night. In our main event, it is a WWE Women's Tag Team Championships number one contender triple threat, where we have, of course, the Fatal Influence girls being represented by Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix taking on the Colleen, which is Izzy Dame, and, our lovely Tatum Paxley. So Tatum Paxley. And of course, versus the powerhouse and the flexibility that is Zaruka in Soul Ruka and Zarya. My God, all 6 women involved in this match, I was like, this was the best match. Everyone did freaking awesome. And you know what? I know I talk a lot of crap about Jasmine because she's there to look pretty, but damn, Jasmine, I was like, I see you, girl. You put in the work in this match. I was like, you go, Jasmine. Oh my gosh. I don't have a lot of notes because I was glued to my screen the entire time.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't have a lot of notes for this either because this was by far the best match of the entire episode. But I want to comment on a couple of things. One I want to comment on is how wonderfully well Tatum and Izzy work together. It's not a pairing that I thought would function properly, but I mean, they're almost intuitive of each other. It was pretty neat to watch. And I thought this match was pretty brutal, which was great. And I think we are, because obviously, but we're starting to see the cracks in Fatal Influence. So, but yeah, I was just really amazed at how well Tatum and Izzy work together. I was just very impressed.
100%.
So now we can get on to the badass part.
Yeah, so of course Tatum and Izzy win, so they will be facing, I think they said it in the pre-tape, either next week at Homecoming or sometime after that. Izzy and Tatum will be facing off against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, who of course are the main roster girls, but they are current women's tag team champions. So I'm excited because even if Tatum and Izzy don't win, the fact that they get to go up against Charlotte and Alexa, who are also really amazing team in their own right, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
But after the match, JC, her composure starts to crack and she loses her damn mind because she is mad. She calls out Jasmine and Fallon, blaming them and saying that JC has been carrying this group on her back. I'm like, watch it now, JC. I was like, the cracks have been forming, but now we like widened it and deepened it a little bit, because Jasmine and Fallon, like when they heard this, they're like, hold the phone. More so than they had, because JC's been saying this on and off kind of as little digs the last couple of weeks. But this was the first time where Fallon and Jasmine were like, now hold the phone, girl. What in the flip are you talking about? Like, so JC goes on a tirade saying that she is the best NXT women's champion in the company's history. She was double champ. She was TNA Knockouts champion, yada, yada, yada. And then she gets interrupted by Vera herself, Stephanie, who does give credit to JC because JC was the one who beat Stephanie to become the NXT Women's Champion, but reminded, JC that, yes, you beat me for the NXT Women's Champion and you were a double champ, holding the NXT and TNA women's titles. But Stephanie was double champ first because she was NXT Women's and NXT Women's North American champion at the same time. And so JC is just like, girl, it's 3-on-1. Like, what you really gonna do? And then, of course, we hear the familiar, it's Tiffy time. And if Stephanie Vaquer is the black and silver era of NXT women's division, Tiffany is the Nickelodeon Splat version, the 2.0 version, that what started us off when we created BC WrestlePod and started reviewing NXT. Tiffany, of course, is our WWE Women's Champion. And so she comes out and she's like, JC, I'm the longest reigning women's champ in the current, with all the titles right now. So, girl, you are not the best. But then, of course, JC's like, okay, I see what has happened. It's still, 2-on-3, and I don't care about, and then, of course, representing NXT Black and Gold era of the women's division, mommy herself, Miss Bloody Ripley, is in the building, and we're far enough in. I almost passed out, and I was excited is the best way to put it for this. I'm like, we are called the Bi-Conics for a reason. I ogle my men's and women's is. These 3 nearly sent me into, the splash zone. I was like, holy oh. And Rhea Ripley doesn't mince words. She's like, girl, look at us. Look at you. But, you're complaining. So how about we put it to the test? And on paper, Papa, this is the best match that we're probably getting next week, because it is going to be the Fatal Influence girls taking on Rhea Ripley, Stephanie Vaquer, and Tiffany Stratton. And, to reiterate what I sent in our text thread, I'm like, I swear to God, these 3 right here on my screen, they need to win or I will write it. And plus, I think it makes better sense storyline-wise for the cracks to continue to, deepen with Fatal Influence anyways. But I'm not gonna lie, these three right here, this is a powerhouse. Like, holy crap.
I mean, at first it was like when Stephanie came out, I was like, oh yeah, because I love Stephanie. Stephanie, she's my girl. And then Tiffany, and I was like, what is happening right now? I was like, okay. We got Miss Tiff out there, and then it was like, okay, so there's got to be three. Who's the third? And when the music and everything came on, I was like, are you kidding me right now? I mean, how in the world? And I'm telling you right now, if Fatal Influence wins against these three, it's rigged. Full
For
on.
real. I was like, we know wrestling is predetermined, but like
Yeah,
we're calling
like,
shenanigans. I was
come
like,
on.
really?
If you want, I mean, come on. You don't put the JCJ and them against those three thinking that JCJ and Fatal Influence are going to win. You put them against other people, but not these three powerhouses who are going to annihilate these women. I think this match is going to be off the hook.
Oh, I am so excited for this match. I cannot wait. This match is going to be on and popping, as the kids say. Like, oh man, I cannot wait. And again, you're right. I was like, Rhea, Stephanie, and Tiffany. To me, I was like, NXT, hear me out, right? Y'all these women need to win, like hands down, no contest. And so these three chase Fatal Influence out the ring, and that is how NXT goes off the air for this week. Again, a really fun episode. I mean, we did have some downers with some certain segments and certain matches, but I thought this was probably one of the better paced show this week. And I am really excited for Homecoming next week. So NXT, in the first time in 5 years, they are returning to their OG home of the Full Sail University, where NXT started during the, with Black and Gold before moving to the Performance Center, where we're currently at now. But I cannot wait to review Homecoming next week. And then, after Homecoming is said and done, then we got a week after that until No Mercy. So we are going to be here at NXT Losos. We're going to be busy for the next 2 weeks leading into No Mercy. But that's going to be it for us here. But before we sign off for the evening, let's take a look to see what the remainder of this week looks like. So later tonight, of course, at 8 p.m. Pacific, the CMLL crew, Los Lucha, will be here to review another fun episode of CMLL's Viernes Espectacular. And we're going to talk about it more over there. But also next week, we're finally here. Next Friday is the audio show. I was like, we are here. It's going to be a great time. So tune in tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific to see all that go down. Then on Friday, as of right now, the TNA boys are here to review another episode of TNA. I'm not going to lie. It's been a rough go the last 2 episodes for us at TNA. But you know what? I have a good time talking crap with my TNA boys, and we shall see how this episode fares as we are continuing to build to Victory Road in 3 weeks and all the other stuff that is going down in the land of total nonstop action wrestling. Then Saturday night, 7 p.m. Pacific, I will, and hopefully Adolfo we will be doing an MLW Fightland watch along where we are getting a lot of MLW talent and CMLL talent participating in this event, which is going to be streamed live free on YouTube. So the event is always free. And then we wrap things up Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific. Well, actually 2 p.m. Pacific. We're trying to figure out the time based on schedules, but we're wrapping things up with WWE this Sunday. And so another good normal week. And then next week, everything kind of just kicks off because we got pay-per-views and things like that. And Papa also and I have to talk about because they're just like, hey, so Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling is going to put their next show free on YouTube tomorrow night for you to watch. So I'm like, well, I don't know if we're going to do a review. So we're going to talk about that to see if that's what we're going to do. But let's see how that goes. But again, that is going to be it for us here at NXT Losos. Papa Oso and I will be back here in about 2 hours or so to review CMLL. So we hope to see you there. But if not, we look forward to you joining us sometime later this week for all the other things we got going on. But from all of us here at NXT Losos and the BC Wrestle Pod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We'll catch you later for CMLL. But until then, this is Sayonara. And until next time, Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.